The stars shone brightly as the alien ship Eternal Seeker moved slowly into Earth's orbit. It was a massive vessel, dark and strange against the blackness of space. Inside, Captain June looked down at the blue planet through the main viewing screen. "So this is Earth," he said quietly. His gray skin wrinkled around his large black eyes as he studied the planet below. The home of humans. Next to him, Science Officer Day checked her instruments. "Scans show no active technology, Captain. Just like the report said, the humans are gone." 300 years had passed since the Voidborn Collective had released their special disease on human colonies. The disease had spread quickly, and soon all humans seemed to disappear. The mighty Voidborn had claimed victory and moved on to other worlds and other races. But now they had returned to Earth to make sure nothing remained. "Prepare a landing team," Captain June ordered. "I want to see this dead world for myself." 6 hours later, Captain June led a team of 5 explorers across what was once a busy human city called Seoul. Buildings lay broken and empty. Plants had grown over roads and into the remains of tall towers. The only sounds were the wind and the footsteps of the alien team. "Look there," said Day, pointing to a large structure half buried in the ground. Unlike the broken buildings around it, this structure seemed perfectly preserved. Its walls were black and smooth with strange symbols carved into the stone. Captain June checked his scanner. "Interesting. Our instruments cannot see inside." "The material is unknown," Day said, running her 6-fingered hand over the smooth surface. "It seems to absorb all energy we direct at it. Sound, light, scanning beams, all disappear into it." Team member Rim, a security officer, gripped his weapon tightly. "We should report this and wait for more forces. This could be dangerous." "Captain," June shook his head. "The humans are extinct. Our disease killed them all. This is just a building." He pointed to a doorway that led down into darkness. "We go inside." As they entered, lights on their suits turned on automatically. The hallway was wide, with high ceilings and perfectly smooth walls. The black material seemed to swallow their light, making it hard to see far ahead. "Strange," said Day, checking her instruments again. "This place seems designed to be found, yet it has no defenses. All other races fought back when we attacked them." "The humans were weak," said Rim confidently. "That is why they died so easily." They walked deeper into the structure. Their footsteps made no sound on the black floor. The silence was complete. Even their breathing seemed muffled, as if the air itself was heavy. After 20 minutes of walking, they entered a vast, round room. The ceiling rose so high their lights could not reach it. In the center of the room stood a simple stand with a small cube resting on top. The cube had Korean writing on each of its 6 sides. "What does it say?" asked Captain June, moving closer to the cube. Day used her translator device. "It says, awakening, rebirth, return, vengeance, memory, and hope." "Primitive religious objects," said Captain June with a laugh. "The humans always put their faith in false gods and empty words." As they approached the center of the room, the cube began to glow with a soft blue light. The light grew stronger as Captain June got closer. "Captain, stop," warned Dai. "This object is reacting to our presence. Protocol says we should—" "Protocol is for the fearful," interrupted Captain June. The Voidborn had conquered 17 galaxies. What harm could a dead race's trinket do? He reached out and touched the cube. The moment his gray fingers made contact, the cube flashed brightly. The walls of the room suddenly lit up with thousands of tiny lights, like stars. The floor beneath them hummed with power. The entire structure seemed to come alive. A beam of light shot up from the cube, and a human figure appeared in the air before them. It was a female in a simple white uniform. Her face was calm, her eyes alert and intelligent. "I am Sung, keeper of records," the figure said in perfect Voidborn language. "You have activated Protocol Lazarus. Verification required." The alien team stepped back in shock. "How do you speak our language?" demanded Captain June. "What is this trick?" Sung's eyes moved over each alien. studying them carefully. "You are not human," she said. "Yet Protocol Lazarus has been initiated. This possibility was predicted by the architects." Day moved forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "What is Protocol Lazarus?" "We believed humans were extinct." "Extinction is a matter of perspective, Science Officer Day of the Voidborn Collective," Sung replied. The aliens looked at each other in confusion and fear. How did this light image know Day's name and rank? "We have been watching you since you entered our solar system," Sung continued. "The worship temples were designed to be found. They are not religious places, as you might think, but rather incubators." The room shook slightly. The walls began to move. Hidden doors slid open to reveal thousands of clear pods, each containing what looked like a sleeping human. "Impossible," shouted Rim, raising his weapon. "Humans are extinct. Our disease killed them all." "Your disease was indeed effective," said Sung, "but humans did not fight it in the way you expected. We chose a different path." Inside the pods, the sleeping figures began to move. Lights flashed on control panels. Liquid drained from the containers. "What you see here is the reason we built these temples across Earth," explained Sung. "When your disease came, our greatest minds saw that we could not win a direct fight, so we changed the game." Captain June tried to contact his ship, but his communicator was dead. The door they had entered through was now sealed shut. "What have you done?" he demanded. "The same thing your people did to us," said Sung. "We adapted. 300 years ago, as your disease spread, we placed our best and brightest in these chambers. While in deep sleep, their bodies were changed, made stronger, more resistant. They were prepared for the day when those who tried to kill us would return." The first pod opened with a hiss of air. A human male sat up slowly. He looked around, his eyes quickly focusing on the aliens. He showed no confusion, no fear. "Han reporting," he said in a clear voice. "Awakening successful." More pods opened, more humans rose. They moved with strange grace, their eyes too aware, too focused for people just waking from sleep. "You see, Captain June," said Sung, "humanity didn't fight your disease because we chose to wait. And now, the wait is over." Han stood before the alien captain, studying him with calm, knowing eyes. "Your kind thought they destroyed us. Instead, you gave us time to become something new." Outside the temple, across the planet, in hidden places beneath oceans and mountains, similar temples were activating. Millions of pods were opening. Humanity's guardians were waking up after their long sleep, and they were no longer the humans the Voidborn had tried to destroy. Captain June backed away from the human called Han. The alien leader's hand moved to his weapon, but Han was faster. With one smooth motion, Han gripped June's wrist. His hold was gentle but impossible to break. "There is no need for weapons here," Han said calmly. "We mean you no harm. Yet." Around them, more humans emerged from their pods. They wore simple white clothing like Sung's hologram. They moved with strange grace, as if their bodies were lighter than they should be. Day watched in amazement. "How is this possible? Our disease was perfect. No human could survive it." Sung's hologram smiled. "You are right, Science Officer. No human could survive it, as we were. But we changed." The hologram waved her hand and a large screen appeared on one wall. It showed images from Earth's past. 300 years ago, Sung explained, "when your disease first appeared on our colony worlds, we knew it was not natural. We saw it was made to kill only humans." The screen showed sick people in hospitals, dead bodies in streets. The aliens watched without emotion. This was a common sight to them. They had seen it on many worlds. "Our scientists worked day and night to find a cure," Sung continued. "But your disease was too clever, it changed too quickly. We could not beat it directly." Han nodded. "So we found another way. Instead of fighting the disease, we decided to change ourselves." Another human approached, a female with calm eyes. "I am Kim," she said. "I was one of the lead scientists on Project Lazarus." Kim pointed to the empty pods. "These chambers did not just keep us asleep. They slowly rebuilt our bodies, cell by cell. We used advanced technology to guide our own evolution." Rim, the security officer, laughed. "Evolution takes millions of years. You Expect us to believe you did it in 300? Not natural evolution, Kim explained. Directed evolution. Guided by our most advanced AI systems. The same ones that now live inside each of us. Captain June's eyes widened. You put machines in your bodies? Not exactly, said Han. We merged with them. Human brain, AI assistants. We are still human, but improved. Sung's hologram continued the story as more screens appeared. While most humans entered the sleep chambers, some stayed awake as long as they could. They built these temples deep underground, hidden from your scanning ships. They covered Earth with them, 17,000 temples in total. 17,000? Gasped Day. That would mean millions of sleeping humans, confirmed Kim. The best of us. Scientists, soldiers, artists, farmers, all the skills we would need to rebuild. The screens now showed large ships leaving Earth. Captain June recognized them as early human colony vessels. What you see here is our last act before sleep, said Sung. Some humans chose to flee, to hide on distant worlds beyond your empire's reach. They have been growing in number, waiting for our signal. Han walked to the center of the room and picked up the cube that had started everything. It glowed brighter in his hands. This is not just an activation device, he explained. It is a beacon. Right now, it is sending a message to every human settlement across the galaxy. It tells them it is time to return home. Sung's hologram looked directly at Captain June. You have questions. Ask them now. Captain June tried to appear calm, but his gray skin had paled. If you could do all this, hide, change yourselves, prepare, why not fight us 300 years ago? Han and Kim exchanged glances. It was Kim who answered. We were not ready, she said simply. Your collective had superior weapons, ships, and numbers. Fighting then would have meant total extinction. And now? Asked June. Han smiled. Now the odds are more balanced. As if responding to his words, the temple shook slightly. Deep sounds like distant thunder rolled through the walls. Sung's hologram looked up. The other temples are fully activated. Seoul, Beijing, New York, London, Cairo, Sydney, all are awake now. Day moved closer to Captain June. Captain, we must warn the fleet, she whispered. Your communications are blocked within the temple, said Han, his hearing clearly enhanced. But do not worry. Your fleet already knows something is happening. On the screens, the view changed to show Earth from orbit. The Voidborn fleet, 12 large warships, held position around the planet. But something was wrong. The ships were moving in strange patterns, as if confused. What is happening to our ships? Demanded Rim. Kim pointed to the screen. They are experiencing the first phase of Protocol Lazarus. The energy signature from our awakening temples creates a disruption field. Your weapon systems and long-range Mi-Wur communications are temporarily disabled. Captain June's face showed a mix of anger and fear. This is an act of war. No, said Han firmly. This is self-defense. You fired the first shot 300 years ago. We are simply responding. Sung's hologram waved her hand again, and the screens changed to show something new. Humans working in laboratories. While we slept and changed, she explained, our AI systems continued to study your disease. They found its weakness. Kim touched her own arm and her skin glowed slightly blue. The disease you created attacks a specific part of human DNA. So we removed that part and replaced it. Simple, but it took time. Not only that, added Han. We created our own version of your weapon. One that affects only void-born biology. The alien stepped back in alarm. Rim raised his weapon, but before he could fire, his body froze in place. Please do not be afraid, said Kim. We have not released it. We may never release it. That depends on what happens next. Sung's hologram now showed new images. Empty cities being rebuilt by machines. Farms returning to the overgrown land. Factories starting up again. Earth is awakening just as we are, she said. Our planet was never dead. It was waiting, healing, preparing, just like us. Han placed the glowing cube back on its stand. Now you understand what these temples really are. Not places of worship, as you thought, but incubators for a new kind of human. and storage for our most powerful weapon, knowledge. What do you want from us? Asked Captain June, finally finding his voice again. Han looked at each alien in turn, his eyes calm but firm. We want what all living things want, he said. To exist in peace, to grow, to live without fear of extinction. Kim nodded. Your collective has conquered 17 galaxies and destroyed countless species. That ends today. How? Asked Day. You are just one world. Sung's hologram smiled. We were one world. But as we speak, the humans who fled are returning, and they bring friends. Other races who survived your attacks, who hid as we did, who evolved as we did. Han turned to Captain June. You have a choice now. You can be the void-born captain who started a war that will destroy your people. Or, you can be the one who helped create peace. The screen showed one final image. Thousands of ships approaching Earth from all directions. Ships of different designs from different worlds. A united force against the void-born collective. What is your choice, Captain? Asked Han. Captain June looked at the approaching fleet, then at the awakened humans. For the first time in his long career, the alien felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Zorl of the Voidborn fleet paced the bridge of his command ship. His large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress among his kind. Why can't we contact the landing team? He demanded. It has been 6 hours. A crew member looked up from his control panel. Unknown, Admiral. There is some kind of energy field blocking our signals. It started when those structures on the planet activated. Admiral Zorl slammed his fist on a nearby table. Impossible. This planet is dead. The humans are extinct. Sir, called another crew member. We're detecting ships approaching. Many ships. On the main screen, hundreds of small dots appeared, moving toward Earth from all directions. As they came closer, the Voidborn could see they were ships of many different designs. Some were clearly old human vessels, but others were unknown. Admiral, Zorl's skin turned a paler shade of gray. How many? Over 3,000, sir, and more appearing every minute. Down in the Soul Temple, Captain June and his team watched the same scene on the wall screens. The human called Han stood beside them, his face calm. Your admiral has a choice to make, Han said. He can retreat and live, or he can fight and die. Captain June looked at the human with new respect and fear. The Voidborn do not retreat. It is not our way. Kim, the female human scientist, nodded. We know. That is why we prepared for war, even though we hope for peace. Sung's hologram appeared again. The other temples report full activation. All chambers are now open. Humanity is awake. Han nodded. Good. Begin Phase 2. On the screens, the view shifted to show other parts of Earth. Everywhere humans were emerging from underground temples. Some walked out into the sunlight for the first time in 300 years. Others went straight to work, activating machines that had waited silently for their return. What is Phase 2? Asked Day, the science officer. Kim smiled. Reclamation, taking back what is ours. Huge sections of ground suddenly opened up across Earth's surface. Giant machines rose from underground bunkers. They were ships, weapons, and other devices the aliens had never seen before. While we slept, our AI systems continued to design and build, explained Han. They used materials from deep in the Earth, where your scanners couldn't detect them. In the skies above, the alien fleet began to move into attack formation. Admiral Zorl had made his decision. Your people choose war, said Han, watching the screen. His voice held sadness, not anger. Kim touched a small device on her wrist. All units, prepare for defensive measures only. I repeat, defensive only. Captain, June looked confused. You will not attack? Not first, said Han. We are not like you. We do not want to destroy unless we must. On the screen, the Voidborn ships fired their weapons. Powerful energy beams shot toward Earth's surface, targeting the emerging human facilities. But something strange happened. The beams hit invisible shields and scattered, doing no damage. Some beams seemed to be absorbed completely, making the shields glow briefly. "Energy conversion shields," explained Kim. "Your weapons make us stronger." Admiral Zorl ordered a second attack, this time launching biological weapons. Containers filled with deadly diseases designed to kill all life forms. The containers never reached Earth's atmosphere. Small drones rose up to meet them, surrounding each container with a blue field that made them simply disappear. "Dimensional displacement," said Kim. "We send the containers to empty space where they can harm no one." In the temple, Rim, the security officer, watched with growing panic. "This is impossible. No race has ever stopped our weapons." "No race before had 300 years to prepare," said Han. "And no race before had our motivation." The human turned to face the aliens directly. "Your people destroyed our colonies, killed billions of our kind, and thought us defeated. But you taught us something important." "What?" asked Captain June. "How to survive," said Han. "And now how to win." On the screens, the human and allied ships surrounded the Voidborn fleet. They did not fire. They simply waited. "What are they doing?" asked Day. Kim pointed to the screen. "Giving your admiral one last chance to make the right choice." In space, Admiral Zorl was growing desperate. None of their weapons worked against Earth's defenses. The enemy ships had them surrounded but weren't attacking. It made no sense. "Sir," said his second-in-command, "we're receiving a message from the surface." "Show me," ordered Zorl. The screen changed to show Han's face. The human looked directly at the Admiral. "Admiral Zorl of the Voidborn Collective." Han said, "I am Han, coordinator of Earth defense. I speak for humanity." Zorl glared at the human. "We destroyed your kind once. We will do it again." Han shook his head. "No, you failed to destroy us, and you will not get another chance." "What do you want, human?" demanded Zorl. "Peace," said Han simply. "End your wars of conquest. Return to your homeworlds. Leave other species to live freely." Admiral Zorl laughed. "The Voidborn rule through strength. We take what we want. We do not make peace with lesser beings." Han's face showed no emotion. "Then you leave us no choice." The transmission ended. Admiral Zorl turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare all remaining biological weapons. We will release everything we have." Before the order could be followed, something strange began to happen on the Voidborn ships. The air filtration system started to glow with a soft blue light, the same light that surrounded the humans in the temple. "What is happening?" shouted Zorl. Crew members began to collapse, struggling to breathe. Alarms sounded throughout the fleet. In the Soul Temple, the aliens watched in horror as their fleet suffered. "What have you done?" asked Captain June. Han looked at him with sad eyes. "We released our own version of your disease. It affects only Voidborn biology, just as yours targeted only humans." "You're killing them," gasped Day. Kim shook her head. "No, it is not deadly. It causes temporary paralysis only. They will recover in a few hours." Han watched the screen as the Voidborn fleet drifted, powerless. "We could have killed them all, just as they tried to kill us. But that is not our way." "What will happen now?" asked Captain June Sung's hologram appeared again. "The Allied fleet is boarding the Voidborn ships. Your crews will be held until agreements can be made with your government." Han turned to the alien captain. "Your empire ends today, Captain June, but your people need not suffer." Outside the temple, the sounds of construction grew louder. Machines were rebuilding the old city of Seoul. Humans walked the streets again. Ships landed and took off. "Earth is alive again," said Han. "And humanity has returned stronger than before." Kim approached the aliens. "You will be taken to a holding facility. You will be treated well. When negotiations are complete, you may return to your world." Captain June looked at the humans with new understanding. "You had the power to destroy us completely, why didn't you?" Han's eyes showed a gentle strength. "Because then we would be like you. And everything we did, the sleep, the change, the waiting, would have been for nothing." As they were led from the temple, Captain June looked back at the place where the cube had sat. It was gone now. Its work complete. The weapon that had defeated the mighty Voidborn was not the disease, nor the ships, nor the shields. It was humanity itself. 1 month had passed since the awakening of humanity. Earth was changing rapidly. Cities rose from ruins. Fields that had been wild for centuries were now farms again. The skies were filled with ships coming and going. In what was once called the United Nations building in New York, a new council met. Humans sat alongside representatives from 12 other species, races that had survived the Voidborn attacks by hiding or running. Now they had come together in an alliance. Han stood before them, giving a report on the state of the Voidborn fleet. All 12 ships have been secured, he said. The crews are being held in comfortable facilities. They are not harmed, but they cannot leave yet. An alien with blue skin and 4 arms spoke up. The Voidborn killed half my people. Why show them mercy? Kim, who sat at the main table, answered. Because mercy is strength, not weakness. We win not by destroying them, but by being better than them. In a special holding area near what was once Washington, D.C., Captain June and his team were kept in clean, comfortable rooms. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not free to leave. Day spent most of her time talking with human scientists, amazed by what they had accomplished. Your transformation is remarkable, she told a human scientist named Park. You changed your basic biology while keeping your minds intact. Park nodded. It was not easy. Many early volunteers did not survive the process. Their sacrifice made our success possible. Day looked out a window at the busy human city being rebuilt. What will happen to us? To all Voidborn? That depends on your leaders, said Park. We have sent messages to your homeworld. We are waiting for a response. In space, the situation was tense. The Voidborn Empire had lost contact with their most powerful fleet. When they learned what had happened, they sent more ships. 100 warships, the largest force they had ever assembled. But they found something unexpected waiting for them at the edge of Earth's solar system. A massive defense network of satellites, ships, and energy fields. And behind that, the combined fleet of Earth and its allies. The Voidborn High Command, for the first time in their 1,000-year history of conquest, hesitated. On Earth, Han and Kim were called to an urgent meeting. Sung's hologram was there, along with the leaders of the Human Council. The Voidborn fleet has stopped at the edge of our system, said a human general named June. They are not attacking, but they are not retreating either. They are waiting, said Han. This is new for them. Usually they attack without hesitation. We need to show them we are serious about peace, said Kim, but also that we are ready for war if they choose it. A plan was made. Captain June would be brought to the meeting. When the alien captain arrived, he looked around at the humans with curiosity. They had treated him well, despite what his people had done to theirs. Captain June, said Han, your people have sent 100 ships to our solar system. Do they come for peace or war? June considered the question carefully. After a month watching humans rebuild, talking with them, learning from them, his view had changed. They come because they do not understand, he said finally. The Voidborn have never been defeated. They do not know how to respond to this situation. Will they attack? Asked June. It is likely, admitted June. It is our way. Kim shook her head sadly. Then many will die on both sides. June looked at her with new understanding. There is another possibility. Let me speak to them. Let me tell them what I have seen here. The humans exchanged glances. Why would you help us? Asked Han. Because I have learned something here, said June. Your people could have destroyed us. Instead, you showed mercy. This is not weakness as we always thought. It is a different kind of strength. After much discussion, the humans agreed. A special ship was prepared to take Captain June to the Voidborn fleet. Day and his other team members would stay on Earth as insurance for his return. Before he left, Han gave June a small device. What is this? Asked the alien captain. Proof, said Han simply. June's ship approached the massive Voidborn fleet cautiously. When they recognized him, they allowed him to board the command ship. The Voidborn High Commander, a tall, thin alien named Mox, greeted him with suspicion. "Captain June, we thought you were dead or captured." "I was captured," confirmed June, "but I was also educated." He told them everything, about the sleeping humans, their transformation, their advanced technology, and most importantly, their mercy. High Commander Mox laughed. "A clever story. These humans have tricked you with illusions." June handed him the device Han had given him. "See for yourself." When activated, the device showed detailed scans of Earth's defenses, the Allied fleet, and the technology the humans now possessed. It also showed the disease they had created, the one that affected only Voidborn biology. "They could have killed us all," said June. "Every Voidborn in the galaxy. Instead, they offer peace." High Commander Mox studied the information with growing concern. "How do we know this is real? That they truly have this power?" "Test it," suggested June. "Send one ship to attack. See what happens." After much debate, the High Command agreed. A single warship was sent forward, weapons ready. The human and Allied fleet did not move. They simply waited. When the Voidborn ship fired its weapons, the energy beams hit invisible shields and disappeared. Then, a small pulse of blue energy shot out from a human ship. It hit the Voidborn vessel and all its systems shut down instantly. No one was hurt, but the message was clear. High Commander Mox watched in silence. Then he turned to Captain June. "You say they want peace. What are their terms?" "Simple," said June. "Stop the conquests. Return to your home systems. Leave other species free to live their own lives. Trade and talk, but do not conquer. And if we refuse, then they will not destroy you," said June. "But they will contain you. Your ships will not be able to leave your home systems. Your weapons will not work beyond your borders. You will be isolated." For a species that had built its entire culture around conquest and expansion, this was a terrible fate. High Commander Mox stared out at the waiting fleet. "We need time to consider." "They will give you 3 of their days," said June. "But no, more." As Captain June prepared to return to Earth, he looked back at his people. The mighty Voidborn, who had conquered 17 galaxies, were now facing something they had never experienced before. A choice. On Earth, Han and Kim watched the stars from the roof of the Soul Temple. The night was clear, and the lights of ships and stations were visible among the stars. "Do you think they will choose peace?" asked Kim. Han smiled slightly. "I hope so. But if not, we are ready." 300 years of sleep, said Kim thoughtfully. Was it worth it? Han looked at the rebuilt city around them, at the people walking freely, at the ships that carried humans back to the stars. "Yes," he said. "It was worth it. We did not just survive. We became better. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same again." Aliens entered the silent worship and woke humanity's final weapon. Part 4. New beginnings. 1 month had passed since the awakening of humanity. Earth was changing rapidly. Cities rose from ruins. Fields that had been wild for centuries were now farms again. The skies were filled with ships coming and going. In what was once called the United Nations building in New York, a new council met. Humans sat alongside representatives from 12 other species, races that had survived the Voidborn attacks by hiding or running. Now they had come together in an alliance. Han stood before them, giving a report on the state of the Voidborn fleet. "All 12 ships have been secured," he said. "The crews are being held in comfortable facilities. They are not harmed, but they cannot leave yet." An alien with blue skin and 4 arms spoke up. "The Voidborn killed half my people. Why show them mercy?" Kim, who sat at the main table, answered, "Because mercy is strength, not weakness. We win not by destroying them, but by being better than them." In a special holding area near what was Once Washington, D.C., Captain June and his team were kept in clean, comfortable rooms. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not free to leave. Day spent most of her time talking with human scientists, amazed by what they had accomplished. "Your transformation is remarkable," she told a human scientist named Park. "You changed your basic biology while keeping your minds intact." Park nodded. It was not easy. Many early volunteers did not survive the process. Their sacrifice made our success possible. Day looked out a window at the busy human city being rebuilt. "What will happen to us? To all Voidborn?" "That depends on your leaders," said Park. "We have sent messages to your homeworld. We are waiting for a response." In space, the situation was tense. The Voidborn Empire had lost contact with their most powerful fleet. When they learned what had happened, they sent more ships. 100 warships, the largest force they had ever assembled. But they found something unexpected waiting for them at the edge of Earth's solar system. A massive defense network of satellites, ships, and energy fields. And behind that, the combined fleet of Earth and its allies. The Voidborn High Command, for the first time in their 1,000-year history of conquest, hesitated. On Earth, Han and Kim were called to an urgent meeting. Sung's hologram was there, along with the leaders of the Human Council. "The Voidborn fleet has stopped at the edge of our system," said a human general named. 3 days passed. On Earth and in space, humans and their allies waited for the Voidborn's answer. Ships remained in position, weapons stayed ready, but no one fired a shot. On the morning of the 4th day, a single Voidborn ship approached Earth. It was not a warship, but a diplomatic vessel. Captain June stood on its bridge beside High Commander Mox. They had come to give their answer. In the great meeting hall of the Soul Temple, representatives from Earth and 12 allied species gathered. Han and Kim sat at the main table. Sung's hologram stood nearby, recording everything for history. The Voidborn representatives entered. High Commander Mox walked slowly, his tall body stiff with pride. But there was something new in his eyes. Caution, and perhaps a hint of respect. "People of Earth and the allied worlds," Mox began. "I speak for the Voidborn High Command. We have considered your terms." The room was silent. The future of the galaxy waited on his next words. "For 1,000 years, the Voidborn have known only conquest. We believed strength meant taking what we wanted. We believed other species existed to serve us or die." Mox paused, looking around at the gathered representatives. "We were wrong." A murmur ran through the room. No one had expected to hear these words from a Voidborn leader. "Captain June has shown us the truth," continued Mox. "You could have destroyed us. Instead, you offered peace. This is a kind of strength we did not understand before." Han nodded slightly. "And your decision?" "We accept your terms," said Mox. "The Voidborn will return to our home systems. We will end our conquests. We will learn to trade and talk instead of taking and killing." Relief filled the room. Many had expected war, not peace. Kim spoke up. "How can we trust this promise? The Voidborn have broken treaties before." Mox turned to Captain June, who stepped forward with a small black box. "With this," he said. Inside the box was a crystal data core, the central command unit for all Voidborn ships and weapons. "This contains the control codes for our entire fleet," explained June. "With it, you can shut down any Voidborn ship that attacks another world." Han took the box carefully. "This is a significant gesture of trust." "It is necessary," said Mox. "We must relearn how to live in peace. This will help us remember." The meeting continued for hours as details were worked out. When it was done, a new treaty existed, one that would reshape the galaxy. 6 months later, Earth had changed even more. Cities now covered much of the planet again. Humans had returned from distant hiding places, bringing with them knowledge and skills learned during their time away. The population had grown to nearly 1 billion. In orbit, a massive space station served as headquarters for the new Galactic Council, an alliance of all free species including the Voidborn, who now held a seat as equals, not conquerors. Han walked through a garden on the station, enjoying the view of Earth below. Captain June, now Ambassador June, joined him. Your people have rebuilt quickly, said June. Han nodded. We had good plans and better motivation. And the temples? What happens to them now? Most have been converted to schools or research centers, said Han. They served their purpose. Now they serve a new one. They stopped at a viewing window. Below them, Earth shone blue and green and white, alive again. There is something I have always wanted to ask, said June. Why did you call them worship temples? You are not a religious people. Han smiled. The name was chosen carefully. Your people's scans would detect large structures. We needed you to dismiss them as unimportant, as merely religious buildings, not scientific or military facilities. Clever, admitted June. We did exactly that. Kim joined them, carrying reports on a small tablet. The restoration of species 437 is complete, she announced. The Lyrax people now have a stable population on their homeworld again. June looked surprised. You restored them, but the Voidborn wiped them out completely 300 years ago. Not completely, said Kim. We saved their genetic material before their extinction. We have been doing this for many species your people tried to destroy. How many? Asked June quietly. 17 so far, said Han, with 11 more in progress. June turned away, his gray skin darkening with shame. We destroyed so much, so many lives, so many cultures. Han put a hand on the alien's shoulder. But now you help rebuild. That matters. On the station's main level, a celebration was beginning. Representatives from 29 species gathered to mark the opening of new trade routes between former Voidborn worlds and the rest of the galaxy. Sung's hologram appeared beside Han. The final sleep chambers have been repurposed, she reported. All awakened humans have now found their place in the new world. And the final weapon? Asked Han. The virus that targets Voidborn biology? Neutralized and archived, said Sung. As requested. Kim looked at Ambassador June. We kept our promise. We created it as protection, not for revenge. June nodded. My people are learning this distinction. Slowly, but they learn. A group of children ran past them in the station's corridor. Human children playing with young Voidborn and other species. They laughed together without fear or hate. That, said Han, pointing to the children, is the real final weapon. The next generation, growing up without the walls we built. As night fell over this side of Earth, lights appeared across its surface. From space, it looked like the planet was covered in stars of its own. In the Soul Temple, now a university, a small museum displayed the activation cube that had started everything. A plaque beside it told the story of humanity's long sleep and triumphant return. The last line read, Our greatest weapon was never violence, but patience. Our greatest strength was never hate, but hope. Han, Kim, and June stood on the station's observation deck, watching ships come and go from a dozen worlds. Peace was still new, still fragile. There were problems to solve and wounds to heal. The Voidborn were changing, but change came slowly. Some humans still called for revenge, not reconciliation. Will it last? Asked June. Han looked at the stars, beyond Earth. Nothing lasts forever, but while it does, we will build something worth preserving. And if war comes again, pressed June. Kim smiled slightly. Then we will be ready. Again. The three of them, human, and Voidborn, stood together in silence, watching the galaxy that had once been divided by war now slowly unite in peace. Far below, in the temple where it all began, the walls still absorbed all sound. But now, instead of silence preserving sleeping humans, it helped students concentrate as they learned the history of what had happened, and worked to create a better future. The silent worship of war had ended. The silent work of peace had begun.